Hi there, and welcome to my small YouTube channel. As you may or may not know, depending on a person's age, being old is not for the meek. No kidding. Traveling along that twisted road of life, sometimes going sideways or just dead ending until I became old, has taken a lot out of me. Now, even my mind takes longer to figure out the curve up ahead, and emotionally, well, hell, I have to make sure that I stay on the right side of the road and don't go flying off. Or it could be goodbye. That's all she wrote. The thing about being around for almost 85 years young, that's a joke if I ever heard one. Nothing young about being this age. I sometimes feel like I'm trapped in an old body. Either there is something wrong with me, or it's the mirror's fault. If I hadn't aged slowly, I would be shocked by my appearance if I hadn't looked in a mirror during the passing years. Gray hair and mustache, baggy red rim monkey shit brown eyes, and a turkey neck that flaps in the breeze. That's what I've become. Poor specimen of the person I used to be. Mind you, I'm not complaining. Well, maybe I whine a little bit now and then about being so freaking old, but not being able to do the things I used to easily do when I was a younger man can be rather annoying. Also, I don't want to fall down. The old bones are more brittle now and I might break something, which in the long run could be fatal. I hiked the West Coast Trail on Vancouver Island in BC a couple of times when I was in my younger 40s. Now if I walk 2 blocks, my bony legs of steel are stiff and achy. And I pant like a dog, especially if I have to walk up a hill. However, despite looking like a dried up old prune, aching joints in a serious battle with cancer, I found the worst thing about being old is that I've outlived some of my closest friends and relatives. But you don't have to be old to outlive them. Oh no. Like when I was a young man, my best friend at the time, only 21 years of age, was killed in a horrific car accident. And 3 other friends also died in other car accidents within a few months after. Death at that younger time still took a heavy toll on me, especially when it happened so close to my heart. Several years later, my dad died on Christmas Day, which was a shock because he was much younger than I am now. And at that time, he was the closest person I'd ever been to for all of my life. I lost another best friend, a bit younger than me, but not that long ago. Damn stubborn fool was building a house and he fell off the bloody roof. He refused to go to a hospital or see a doctor, and died a couple of weeks later due to complications from the fall. I've also lost 2 younger sisters who live relatively conservative lives. Unlike me, who's gone through life like I had a burr stuck between the cheeks of my ass, done all sorts of reckless things, you would think they would still be here and I'd be gone. But no, I'm still here. People used to ask me why I look younger than my age. And I used to say, and still say, I take vitamin B. Vitamin B for beer. Maybe that does have something to do with it. And then again, on the other hand, I've come close to death several times because of drinking too much beer. I've drawn and painted many portraits of strangers, friends and relatives over the years. I wouldn't describe myself as a professional portrait artist because I painted all sorts of things. But saying that, painting portraits for people, seeing their eyes light up when they see a portrait of themselves or someone they love, has always made me feel really good. I also like to keep the prices down on painting portraits so that anyone can afford them. However, I've also painted portraits which would bring tears to their eyes, and this one I've just completed may have that effect. I'll be sending this portrait of my niece, Robin, which was painted from a photograph taken on her wedding day to her mother. Although we were never really that close, I've always had the fondest feelings for her. She was a nurse, and such a beautiful person inside and out. Unlike me, she battled cancer for a while, and she lost. How sad is that? That's the thing about being this old, and my sister is 1 year older than me. There is a possibility we could outlive our kids. I have 6 kids, and knock on wood, they will all outlive me. This painting has been very emotional for me. I guess what I'm hoping for regarding this portrait is that when anyone ever looks at it, they will remember Robin, how kind and thoughtful she was, which will somehow keep her alive in their hearts, which it has in mine. Goodbyes are difficult, but the very last goodbye, especially to someone you have loved for a long, long time, is by far the hardest. I find it a little odd that I painted Robin's portrait now, because I had planned on painting her for quite a few years and surprising her. Too late now. Like the one I painted for my mother-in-law when she wasn't feeling very well and my wife had gone to look after her. She died the day before I finished it. I guess if there is any motto to this, it's that you shouldn't put anything off you are planning to do. Otherwise, it might be too late. And on that note, especially for an old fart like me, where time is definitely running out, I still have a few personal portraits I would like to paint. Although I've painted all my kids at various times in their lives, I do have some grandkids I should paint. The thing about a painted portrait, unlike a photograph, no matter how many years go by, it will most likely still remain hanging on a wall. And sometimes, just because they've been hand-painted, after the person in the portrait has passed on, been gone for many years, one of their relatives will hang it on their wall. Robin has 3 kids, and I expect they will cherish this portrait of their mother, and it will eventually be passed on to their grandkids. Since it's such a warm, sunny day, I should crack a beer for vitamin B, sit my ass outside, and maybe even have a toke to take my mind off this sad post. Like anything else in my life, this could be my last beer, but I hope not. Loves my beer. If you enjoyed this post, please give it a like and subscribe. Maybe even leave a comment too. Cheers, eh?